My name is Heather Marshall, and I'm a breast cancer survivor, as Ashton said. As you can probably tell, I'm not from around here. I grew up in Nottingham, England. And while I was in school, I had a passion for biology. I wanted to know how the body works and how to fix it when it goes wrong. Since leaving college, I've worked in the biomedical research field, earning a PhD in developmental biology. And that's what brought me and my family to Kansas City 18 years ago, when my husband and I joined an amazing team of researchers at the Stowers Institute for Medical Research. Now, for the past 10 years or so, I've had my annual screening mammograms, and they've all been negative. But in the last few years, I've received a letter with my results saying that my breast tissue is quite dense, and I would probably benefit from a 3D mammogram. At the time, I chose to ignore those letters as it was inconvenient for me to take time off to go and get another mammogram after I just had one. And surely a 2D mammogram would spot something, right? Well, I had my last regular 2D screening in May 2016, and that one was negative too. 6 months later, in November, I was in the shower and I felt a lump in my left breast. I visited my family doctor immediately, and she scheduled a diagnostic 3D mammogram and an ultrasound. The lump measured 2.5 centimeters and was biopsied. And my doctor called me a week later, on November the 21st, with the news that I had invasive ductal carcinoma. She immediately referred me to a medical oncologist and a breast surgeon at the KU Cancer Center. And at the time of her phone call, the breast cell cancer markers weren't known. So we weren't sure what type of breast cancer I had or what my prognosis would be. Waiting for that appointment with the oncologist was probably the hardest on me and my family emotionally. I wish I'd known then that I could have called the American Cancer Society helpline and talked to someone, and maybe I wouldn't have felt so alone. When I met my oncologist a week later, he told me that my breast cancer type was HER2 positive. HER2 stands for Human Epidermal Growth Factor 2, and it's the most aggressive and fast-growing form of breast cancer. Everything was a blur to me at that point, and I'm just glad my eldest daughter was with me to take notes. But one thing I'll never forget was how focused, decisive, and positive my oncologist was. He explained the treatment involved would be chemotherapy, followed by surgery and then radiation treatment. And after all that, he said, "You'll be as good as new." Now, 30 years ago, my breast cancer type would have had the worst prognosis. But thanks to biomedical research, 2 antibodies have been developed, Herceptin and Perjeta, that specifically target the HER2 cancer cells. The American Cancer Society helped fund that research that developed this therapy. The development of an antibody to target cancer was a controversial idea back in the 80s, but thanks to researchers and breast cancer patients who were desperate for clinical trials and persevered, HER2 positive breast cancer now has the best prognosis. After my first chemotherapy treatment, I started to lose my hair. But a turning point came after my second treatment when I could no longer feel the lump. And I knew this therapy was working, and I started to feel that I could really beat this. But I didn't look so good though. I had no hair, no eyebrows, and my skin was very pale and dry. And that's when the American Cancer Society came to my rescue again, through a program that they partner with called Look Good, Feel Better. This program helps cancer patients with makeup tips and skincare products that really do help you look good and feel better. I had my lumpectomy surgery after chemo in April 2017, and then the sentinel axillary lymph nodes were removed, and that the pathology on those confirmed what my oncologist already knew, that I had a complete pathologic response to the chemotherapy treatment. My nodes were clear, and I was cancer-free. I like to think that the 20 rounds of radiation therapy that followed were just the final nail in my cancer's coffin. As my oncologist promised, I'm starting to feel as good as new. But I'm one of the fortunate ones, thanks to biomedical research funded by the American Cancer Society, that has helped develop these treatments and continues to forge ahead to find the ultimate cure for this disease. I will be eternally grateful to those hundreds of women that came before me who participated in clinical trials when they probably knew there was little to no hope for them. Eliminating cancer won't be easy, but thanks to you and your continued support of this great cause, we have a fighting chance. Thanks to you and your participation in events like this, I have a future. Thank you so much.